If you want to see a disaster slowly happening in the stock market, watch SMCI closely, because this stock slowly but surely becomes just uninvestable. And I'm not talking about like macro situation or tariffs or Fed not cutting rate. No, the blame is entirely on SMCI management. In this video we will cover how SMCI profits shrink, how their margins shrink, how their management is misleading the investors all the time. We will talk about their latest earnings, and we will talk about their latest earnings call, which I urge all of investors of SMCI or people who just wanna have some good laughs to go and read transcripts of these earnings calls, because this is just something else. Hello and welcome to the Market Monkeys channel. My name is Vadim. Today we are talking about SMCI's latest earnings and all of the weird stuff that was said on the latest earnings call. So let's jump straight into the numbers. And the numbers are pretty bad. So the revenue fell 19% quarter over quarter, but rose 19% year over year. The earnings per share were 31 cents and the gross margin collapsed to 9.7%. Now let's pause for a little and let me just emphasize the numbers here. So we have SMCI who are declaring themselves as this pure AI play in the age of AI. Like, I think we can all agree that right now is the boom of AI market, and SMCI thinking of themselves like this huge AI provider. So in this market, SMCI has now already 3 quarters in a row of declining revenue, 3 quarters in a row of declining gross profits, 6 quarters in a row of raising R&D expenses, and the last time operating income and net income for SMCI were so low were 9 quarters ago in March 2023. Back then, by the way, the stock of SMCI was about $9 if we take into account all the splits that were happening in the last 2 years. So you are paying right now about $30 for the company that 2 years ago with the same numbers was $9. And back then the trajectory was up. Right now the trajectory is down. One more thing I have to mention is that SMCI is bringing less and less cash and issuing more and more debt to cover their operations. So during this quarter they have issued $740 million in debt, and right now their cash position and their debt position are exactly the same. The difference is like $50 million, I think. If you find this information valuable, press the like button, subscribe to our channel. By the way, when I was saying about the earnings calls and the transcript of earnings calls and more metrics and analysis of SMCI, they are all available on Seeking Alpha. Also, Julia's article about the coverage of SMCI earnings, you can go and read it there. The link to the article is in the description of the video. If you don't have Seeking Alpha account, we also have an affiliate link with $30 discount for Seeking Alpha membership. And the management of SMCI is playing these weird games. I'm not even talking about all the accounting problems. I think we talked about them enough. If you haven't heard about that, go and watch our previous videos. We have talked about all these missing filings and weird information and restatements and their accounting firm quitting in the middle of audit and all of that. No, I'm talking about the buzz which SMCI management is trying to create all the time to kind of distract the investors from the real problems of the company. So let's take Q2 earnings, the previous ones. In the middle of Q2 earnings, SMCI management, for some unknown reason, decided to issue a guidance for year 2026. They have decided to tell all the investors that the revenue by the end of 2026 will be about $40 billion. Like, there is a reason why management of companies are issuing a guidance for 1 year ahead and not doing that for the next year. Because first of all, it's irresponsible. Like, if you are a manager of the company, investors and analysts are kind of listening to you and listening to your guidance and making projections based on that guidance. Of course, if you are not sticking to these estimates, you will be punished. But in the short period of time after you issued this surprisingly amazing guidance of $40 billion, yes, the stock will rise. And this is exactly what happened to SMCI stock back then. Back then, they have guided for $40 billion in revenue. This quarter, like one quarter after that, they are already lowering their guidance for this year. And this is exactly what happened in this earnings call. And during the earnings call, one of the analysts actually asked the management of the company, like, okay, for 2025, you are not going to sell as much as you have expected. Does this mean that the sales for 2026 stand as you expected? And in one answer, CEO of SMCI basically contradicted himself. Take a look at that. So for the question of, are you reiterating your $40 billion guidance for 2026? He answered, yes. We remain very confident in our midterm and long-term growth, so especially in Blackwell product line, we have a very strong demand. And this answer he finished with, so demand growth will keep strong, and yes, the tariff and some macroeconomic uncertainty, we at this moment do not provide guidance for fiscal year 2026. So basically, what does this mean? So yes, he agrees with the guidance, or he retracted his previous guidance. I personally don't know, and I have to say, after a remark like that, if I were an investor of SMCI, I would think long and hard about putting my money in the hands of a person who basically answers like that. One more thing we have to talk about is the inventory of SMCI. So currently they have a large problem. They have a lot of inventory that was not sold during previous quarters. And this inventory is kind of outdated. It relates to NVIDIA's previous Hopper architecture. And well, the companies right now don't want this inventory anymore because NVIDIA are now operating with Blackwells and AMD now have their own line of products with new architecture, so SMCI are kind of stuck. Of course, they cannot sell this inventory for the market price, for the original price, so they have to reduce this price in order to somehow get rid of it. And the more they are waiting to do that, the less the price will be. And the management actually acknowledged that during the earnings call. They have said that already this quarter, this inventory problem brought a hit of about 200 basis points, so 2% to the gross margin. The gross margin is less than 10%. Yeah, AI company in the middle of AI boom, gross margin less than 10%. And this problem will stay with the company for at least one more quarter. Knowing SMCI and their management, this problem will stay with them until the rest of this year and maybe the next one. So just know that SMCI now has a problem with that as well, and it's really hurting their profitability. So now let's talk about investment and SMCI. You can already understand that I'm not a big fan of the company and I'm not holding a long position, and I'm not planning to hold the long position. The question is, should you short SMCI? And my personal opinion, hell no. Stay away from this stock, do not short it. Why? Because well, I just told you about these tricks about issuing weird guidance 2 years ahead for the sales, which none of the company do, and these things, they boost SMCI stock in the short term. So if you short their stock, you can get hurt in the matter of weeks or months if some weird piece of news comes out. Hopefully this video was informative and interesting for you. If it was, press the like button, subscribe to our channel, and we will see you in the next video. Take care.